24 hours ago, Austin lost the title. Kurt Angle celebrated in the ring with his family and friends. And now on this Raw in Columbus, Ohio, the Alliance is running scared. Austin may arrive and beat everyone within his sight. I'm John Renton with the Retro Review of WWE Raw from September 24, 2001. Yes, a mere 24 hours after Unforgiven 2001 that I just recently retro reviewed, so please check that out if you haven't already. Provided that horrible butchering of I Want to Be Sedated didn't make you want to stab your goddamn eardrums out. I'm here to talk about the Fallout show and speeding towards No Mercy 2001 and nearing the end of this tragic series of events for professional wrestling where the invasion angle is horribly botched and horribly mutilated. And even though there were some good moments and it's been nice to relive some of this stuff and some entertaining backstage segments and some unique matches, man, they were really spinning their fucking wheels. And they still had a couple months to go before the end of this thing. So anyway, let me know your thoughts on the show in the comments, please. We start off with Heyman being kind of silent and everything because he's upset because Austin was holding the ring apron, but was also tapping out and everything, and they play into that a little bit later. And JR is all jubilant and everything, ironic given who he was next to. And we have Kane and Undertaker with Bradshaw taking on the Dudleys and Test, and well, this is a fine, opening six-man brawl that ended with a last ride on Devon in about 5 minutes. It wasn't bad, it wasn't dull, and the crowd was into it. A lot of these matches I'm not really going to give a ton of time to because at this point, they were really just trying everything they could to squeeze every last bit of blood out of this turnip, despite the fact that that particular turnip, called the invasion angle, had maybe, I don't know, like about that much blood in it because Vince McMahon didn't allow the thing to swell with blood by letting the particular people that had AOL Time Warner contracts run up before doing this invasion angle. We're talking about blood in turnips. Let's move on. So Tori's putting some stuff on her face in the form of makeup. Get your mind out of the gutters. I run a clean show. Stacy shows up. What do you see in Tajiri? He's short, not much of a man or whatever. And then Tori says, says, I like Tajiri and all that. And she says, fine. Stacy says, fine. I'll get a man that's, tall, dark, and handsome and stuff like that. And she says that she could have a man by snapping her fingers just like that. Stacy using her fingers on a man. Stop thinking about, you're thinking about. Stop it. Get some help. So Heyman keeps praising Austin and keeps saying, hey, JR, remember when he beat the shit out of you in front of your friends and family and everything and all that stuff? He didn't say the word shit, but he might as well have. And then Christian, at last, he's on his own in a limo. And then he gets a black guy to escort him to his dressing room. So anyway, he's also in a weird, ridiculous hat and mesh t-shirt and has a, huge ego about his Intercontinental Championship win. So anyway, Shane then says he's got video proof of how Austin was screwed and says to the Alliance that he is going to find a way to, get Earl Hebner here and show him. And he says that Earl screwed Booker and Shane. No, he screwed Brett. God damn it, Shane. You should know this by now because the fans still chant it even now. And Stephanie shows up. He says, she's like, oh, you all here for my birthday? No, you can't talk about your birthday right now. How dare you, have this particular day that you were born fall on the same day that we all got screwed out of various things. And the Alliance needs to take a stand. It's all about leadership. It's about RVD. That's why he's going to face The Rock tonight for the WCW title. And Rob's like, cool. It's pretty much what he said. And also, it's going to be Booker versus Angle for the WWE Championship. Well, it was WWF, and again, must plug, sweet t-shirt that my sister painted the logo of by looking at on Google, a treasured possession that I will absolutely adore for the rest of my life. So anyway, Tajiri with Tori took on Taz with Stacy. Basically, this was just about Stacy kissing Tajiri about halfway through the mere seconds this match lasted. Tori pulling Stacy off. Stacy taking it face first in front of Tori on camera. Again, always delete your search history, by the way. They tangle a bit, and the Taz mission on Tajiri, and that's it. So then Shane is pumping up Booker, says, I can't be there with you, but I'll be with you there in spirit. I got things I got to take care of, like showing Earl Hebner a VHS tape. Remember VHS tapes? I'm old enough to remember when those existed. Goddamn, we thought those would never go out of style, and then DVDs came along. We're like, this'll never work. And then VHS tapes were pretty much gone. Then they revitalized them by having the VHS anthology series come out. Oh God, they actually did the first VHS with a DVD, or a Blu-ray, a DVD, and did they have Blu-ray in 2012? I think they did. But the whole point is they had a Blu-ray, DVD, and a VHS combo pack that I bought at one point. Don't ask me why. So anyway, we get Rhino versus Jeff Hardy for the U.S. Championship. It's power versus agility. The women went nuts for Jeff. That floor was a goddamn mess. Everybody was slipping and sliding over what came over them and what came on the floor. This is a gross review for once. Only once. So, Rhino misses a splash. Jeff dodges a gore, but ends up diving, trying to do the whisper and win. Mid-air gore, 1, 2, 3. So Rhino retains the U.S. Championship. Hurricane is talking to Lance Storm and Ivory and says, don't worry, Citizen Ivory, Citizen Storm, talking about the 6-person tag they're going to have a little bit later. Then Ivory leaves. And then he says to Lance, I'm going to get Molly Holly in my corner. We got to go and win this match. Let's just go do it. He says, her twin powers activate. This is so fucking stupid because Lance is just there, stoic as ever. Shane says, shape of a hurricane. Lance says, form of an ice storm. Why that made me laugh, I have no goddamn idea. But it just was so funny. And then whoosh, just takes off. So then Kanyon talks to RVD. He's unsure about, his standing in the alliance, and also Austin may take out his aggression on him. He says, don't worry, it'll all work out. Dude, whatever, and cool. I got nothing against Rob, but they really just made it where he was just an aloof, pot-smoking guy. So really, it wasn't a stretch for him to play that. But RVD did have that cool charisma about him. I mean, still does. I'm just saying back then, watching how he was in his prime. So Hurricane, Lance, and Arvery. It's an armory, no. Against Show, Spike, and Big Show, that is. Spike and Molly Holly. Spike was in a singlet like the Big Show was because that's what we needed to see. Heyman kept needling JR about Austin. This was a constant theme. And we get the cape crossbody, so to speak, but Hurricane's cape kept coming off. And then Ivory did hit a low blow on the Big Show that he sold for all of 15 seconds. And then ended up tagging Molly Holly. She stood on his shoulders, did the Molly go around on Lance Storm, 1, 2, 3. So there you go. And then Shane shows Earl the footage. It was not his mistake, but my decision stands. And says, if I were when Austin gets here, and if Austin gets here, when Austin gets here, because it was kind of up in the air there, I'd make myself scarce. Because you know what happens when Austin gets angry around people. Just ask Deborah. No, I'm not going to forget that. Anyway, Austin does not show up on this whole show, which is kind of smart. Hold off on it. Let Angle have his moment. Let the Alliance, plant these seeds and everything. What seeds can be planted in this ground that is basically scorched earth. Good things happen to good people, JR says about Kurt Angle, who would later turn heel, a little bit after No Mercy. It was stupid. Really fucking stupid. And it was because he was a mole for the WWF and just wrecked the entire face run that he had. He wouldn't become a goddamn face for a while. It would be 2003 before he'd become a face again. Well, yeah, no, about 2003 when he came back. So almost just about 2 years, after this, he would finally become a face. So anyway, Angle versus Booker for the WWE Championship. The crowd pops huge for Angle. Booker kept targeting the neck with a sleeper hold and scissors kicks and stuff like that. Kept scissoring another man's neck. Wait. And then Heyman kept talking about Austin repeatedly. Do you want to just marry him, for God's sakes? Marry the rattlesnake. Oh my God, oh my God. All right, yeah, this review is just going totally off the rails. And we get a ref bump. Booker hits Kurt in the head with the title. But that doesn't work. A nice Northern Lights by Kurt. I can understand why he stopped doing that because it was probably jacking his neck. Ankle lock for the win. Big shock. Booker ends up tapping out because, of course, he was going to. And then Canyon's confronting Lita and asking her out on a date. Hey, how about I win this match and then you spend a few hours afterwards with me? And she asks him to say it again. You're right. You do have that's what I thought. You do have a speech impediment. Way to make waves and make people feel welcome. Kanyon really could have meant a lot to WWE, and he definitely could have meant a lot to another company. Impact should have brought him in and everything. It's a damn shame how his life ended, 2010, I think. I think he was only 40 years old. A real shame. He was very valuable, and apparently a really nice guy. I mean, I never met him. But anyway, Christian says he's going to do in his solo 5-second pose. Jericho interrupts him. They have a brief Intercontinental Championship match with a jump start. Y2J chants. Christian uses a ring bell, within a few minutes, to cause a DQ when Jericho tries to springboard and gets hit in the head. But there's no bell to ring, Heyman says. Why that amuses him, I don't know. And then he tries a one-man concerto, but then Jericho locks the walls on him, and of course then Heyman being the heel commentator, the match is over, stop him. X-Pac is in Regal's office wanting TV time. Regal basically calls himself a lot of, insults him a whole lot, calling him a lot of names, and says, I'll put on my gear and beat your ass. Now bugger off. The British have such a great way of insulting people. I don't know why British insults make me laugh so much. The way they say can't really makes me laugh. Think about it. Now stop thinking about it. Now why are you still thinking about it? So, RVD is talking to Raven and Terry, says, you're a Raven, quote the Raven nevermore, don't be dark, it's like, be yourself and everything. Thanks, Rob. And Stephanie thanks him for being a great member of the Alliance and a leader. When you beat The Rock, you'll be the leader of the Alliance. I just want the title. And then he's like, well, you know what? Leader of the Alliance does sound pretty good. Kanyon versus Matt with Lita. So Kanyon hits on Lita again. Lita slaps him. They have a bit more match. And then Lita ends up, for whatever reason, getting on the ring apron. Matt ends up running into her. And she gets knocked down. And Kanyon hits Flatliner 1, 2, 3. Smiling DDP. Self-help guru. It's me, DDP. And he does that and everything. I like me, you like me, and now I'm going to help you like you. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. This is a mere month after that whole thing at SummerSlam, which, hey, at least they were trying something, and it would end up becoming a pretty damn lucrative thing because DDP is still doing the same damn thing 20 years later, helping a lot of people out with DDP. Why? Why wouldn't you call it yoga? Anyway, so Al Snow's with the Tough Enough finalists. I totally forgot about the other two that weren't, Maven and Nydia. And then Rock promo where it's about Unforgiven and facing RVD, and then basically says that happy birthday to Steph, you're a hoe with big breasts, and just insulting her and everything. It's just The Rock doing his insulting stuff. X-Pac took on Regal in a brief match where, well, X-Pac seemed a little bit off, and he would be gone. He would be gone from the company soon after this, taking time off. Neckbreaker, the necktie neckbreaker, great stuff. 1, 2, 3. Regal wins. RVD versus The Rock, WCW title. Steph shows up, and it was a unique matchup. It wasn't dull. It was short though because there was a lot of interference. Announcer's table bump. Stephanie kept interfering. Rock chased her up the ramp, threw her back in, was going to hit the rock bottom. RVD almost got the victory, but alas, we get a ref bump because Steph shoves the referee away, but that shoves him into the ropes. RVD gets crotched, and then rock bottom 1, 2, 3. No Austin, and that's it. That's pretty much it right there. Now we move on to SmackDown and move on to No Mercy and everything, and I'm going to continue to pump out these reviews well before, or just right around middle September. So within the next few weeks, expect a whole lot of reviews, probably through the rest of October, and then we will pick up November in November. That's how months work. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.